Hello and welcome to our video on the new Puppet tool. The Puppet tool was not in previous versions. I think they brought it in late 2017, and which is why I left it till the end of the semester because it's something that you can play around with. I really think that it's important to kind of understand how it works, and it has a mesh quality to it, so placing it after the meshes is kind of useful for us. So these are two dogs. This one is a GIF image that has been embedded, and this one is just a little vector pen tool dog that I drew really quickly. So you'll see here with the GIF image, obviously I can't do anything with that. It's got the little no, you can't affect that. So I need to first image trace an image that I want to use if I want to use the Puppet Warp tool on it. So I just image trace it. Um, I could pick high fidelity photo. I could pick 16 colors. Actually, let's make a couple copies of it here. And we'll do one of each. We'll do a 16 color one here on the board because it looks like it has more than 6 colors. And we'll say okay. And then on this one here, I'm going to do a high fidelity photo. And it will probably give it a lot more pixelation there. All right. Expand this and expand this. And it's not too much more, but you can see the difference in the lines there between them. All right. So I've done that with both of them. I'm actually going to come down to the little vector dog first because it's a little bit simpler explanation of how this works. First of all, if you just select the Puppet Warp tool, you cannot do anything. You have to have the image you want to use selected. So I'm going to select this dog thing, this awful little dog shape I drew, and we're going to come in here with the Puppet Warp tool. Now, what I'm going to want to do here is bend pieces of it. Maybe I want his head to be higher or lower, his tail, his legs, etc. So I'm going to put points where I would think that he would bend. All right, I'll put one there. Um, when I first opened this up earlier, it said that you have to have at least 3 for it to work well. So I'm going to put little clicks here everywhere that I think that this dog would actually bend. All right, and you can see as I do this, it's adding more meshes to this. It would actually have a knee in here, but let's put this down here for now. One here, maybe one up in here because the rotation of the hip would be up higher. Tail kind of up here. I'm not sure if we can move the mouth. Let's try that. Put some here maybe. I probably shouldn't put those out on the end. They should have been further in. Can I move them? No, without moving the dog. So they're kind of a waste of space there, but that's all right. Maybe I can undo these a little bit. 1, 2, 3. So I kind of want to move this as a piece and this as a piece. So I'm going to put something here and put something here. And maybe I want to move the ears as well. So I'll put those like that. All right. So when you are selected on one, like this one here, you'll see as you come to the outside edge, it gets a rotation tool. And that's where I can actually bend this. And you'll see that what it's doing is it's just taking this mesh that it's built and rearranging it a little bit. So it's kind of crazy, right? In this case, it maybe bent too much. So perhaps I want to stick another one here first and then try this again. You know, doesn't really seem to be bending it the way I wanted it to. Let's try this one. That one's working a little bit better. So part of this is going to be just playing around with it. You can see it's getting meshier and meshier in here, right? Rough, rough. So I can move this around. I can move this around. If I want to bend his leg here, oops, I accidentally drew another pin. You can see that because I have a pin down at the bottom here, that pin doesn't move his whole leg. So can I delete this pin? I can. And now I can come here and I can actually bend the entire leg if I wanted to instead. So pins hold things down as well. So maybe I want to do that. And then put a pin down here so I can bend this part of his leg, you know, like so. Obviously it's getting too skinny, but you could fix some of this after the fact as well when you come back out of this. Because what happens is it actually deletes the mesh. Now you see that's bending that too much, so maybe I want to delete this one. Come back to this one. Bend it a little bit. Take the tail. Bend that one up. All right, and then when I'm done, I click off of this, and that's done. The puppet tool is gone. If I go, oh, I want to change one more thing, I have to start all over again with the puppet tool. If I select it, it's still there, right? But as a whole, it's just an object for me. Um, so I can come in here and I still have all of my regular points that I drew. So I can actually come in here and change some of this stuff as well, right? Move this, kind of fix the leg a little bit because I messed it up with the thickness of it when I did the mesh. Come back in here, click again, and now that I've moved it, adjusted it, the mesh is gone. It made a point here because I accidentally double clicked, but that other mesh that I had drawn is now gone because I went and changed the path lines, the anchor points, etc. on it. All right, so what happens on this dog up here if I use the mesh tool? So I have him, and I'm going to pick a point. Let's see we want to try to tilt his head, right? And maybe we want to take this leg and make it stick out more or pull it back or something. So I'm going to put a pin maybe about here. So with the head here, you can see that what's happening is I didn't pin anything else down and there's so many anchor points. It's actually affecting way more of the dog than it should. So I need to kind of anchor some of this dog down a bit more before I try to go back and do the head again. And again, even there, his back is still pulling. So you might have to add pins as you try to figure out how you want the head to move. Same thing with the leg here. When I come down here and watch this and I pull this, all of his legs move with it. I'm like, oh no, poor doggy. So again, you want to like pin some stuff down to try to limit the movement, and then come back and, oops, the double pin there. Try to pull this. Again, his head is moving a lot, so maybe I want to put a pin there for a minute. See if I can just get this leg to move a little bit more. Right? Can you move the pins? Yes. See, you could also move them up like this. So if you made a leg too long at that point, or if you want to make it longer or shorter, if you want to change this into a long-legged dog, like a giraffe dog, I could come in here and start pulling these down. So it's really a kind of a quick way to adjust your whole entire drawing while keeping the points that you drew the same. Right? Maybe he needs a bigger tail because his tail is kind of short. You can give him a big tail. You can see this whole mesh is working for me here. And how would this work on this dog over here? This dog is had more anchor points, as you may recall, because I did it with a more detailed image trace. So I'm going to pin the butt there, and then I'm going to take this and pull it up. And you can see the white's going. We just weren't noticing the white moving over on this one, but it was there. It's still around him. So the tail moves, but also I'm pulling the whole thing because I only put one pin in there. So I have to realize again that I didn't pin it up before I started doing this. So I need to drop some other pins in if I want to hold some of these pieces in place before I start moving them around, right? And again, can give them longer legs. And it's keeping all the little anchor point things going on there. They're just little details. Right, so be aware that this is kind of a fun tool to use. This is moving this whole behind there. I could get kind of swirly with it and crazy if I wanted to. I could probably make him a little bit huskier dog, right? Thicken him up a little bit. I could move his head out. If I was going to do that, I would want to delete this ear pin so I could make his neck out further. Maybe his head looks kind of tiny now, so I could make his head bigger this way. Give him a bigger head. Give him a bigger jaw. So you can really manipulate this, and it's great fun. I recommend that you guys all go and try this. It's on the last day of class that we're doing this, so it's not on the final or anything like that, but this is a great tool to use. So definitely go and check it out and play around with it. All right, and that is the pen tool. Sorry, the pen tool, the puppet tool. Um, and again, when I go back here, you can see the warp around this, and you can see the pins are still there because I have not changed any of him. If I go and make a little change here, oops, and move one little piece and go back, oops, in here. Oh, the pins are still there. Interesting. They disappeared on this one before. Maybe because they're more complicated. That's cool. I like that they're still there because I can keep going in, moving it around, and adjusting it. If you guys use Photoshop, they have a similar thing in there. I'm blanking at the moment on what it's called. It's another kind of a warping feature. Um, I think it's called liquefy. You can push things around and make like eyeballs on people larger and things like that. So this is a little bit similar to that, except we're playing around with a mesh while we do it. All right, that's all for this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos for the rest of this last day of class. And good luck on the final, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye.